Apple made a mistake. Or did they? Ask anyone you know about the all-new 2021 iMac, and chances are you're gonna get some very wide-ranging answers. Some people love it, some are indifferent, and some just absolutely hate every new part of this iMac, which sort of raises the question, is this the only iMac we're getting this year? Or is there a new redesigned iMac Pro waiting in the wings here to save the day? Also, what's new with iOS 15 and the latest version of iPadOS? What are the new big features coming this year? And also, what are some new products we could see from Apple before the end of the year, or maybe as soon as just a couple of weeks from now? In this video, I'm breaking down the 8 most exciting things happening in just a couple of weeks at WWDC 2021. Lots to look forward to, lots of new products, lots of new software. Buckle up, sit back and relax, because this is one jam-packed video. And a big thanks to SetApp for sponsoring this video. In just a couple of weeks from now, Apple Park will once again play virtual host to a major Apple event, one of the cornerstone events of the community that happens once a year. That, of course, is happening in June, and it is Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference for this year. And this is a big event. This is where Apple talks to developers. It's where we see the latest improvements and software updates for the Mac and the iPhone and the iPad and the Apple Watch. And it's also been a big event for hardware. Heck, even Apple themselves was releasing the biggest updates to the iPhone at WWDC. The 3G, the 3GS, even the iPhone 4 all made their public debut first and foremost at WWDC. So this is a big event. And though it's slowly started to shift more focusing on software and software updates and software improvements, there's a good chance this year that we could potentially see more hardware than we have in the last couple of WWDCs. First, let's just get out of the way and talk iOS 15 and the next version of iPadOS. And this is an interesting topic to cover because there really is not a lot we actually know about iOS 15. We did, though, just get a recent report from Mark Gurman at Bloomberg that gives us a couple of little clues and a few tidbits on what to look forward to in iOS 15, but there really is not a whole lot we know right now. One of the big updates coming to iOS 15 from this Bloomberg report has to do with how notifications are handled. It seems like Apple is going to give us a little bit more control on the way we receive our notifications, and specifically like setting custom times and custom replies for the way that notifications are handled in certain parts of our day. For example, it seems like you can have maybe a pre-work mode, a work mode, and a off-work mode. So in the morning when you're getting ready, notifications come in no problem, text messages come in, everything kind of works on your phone as normal. But then if you were to go in work mode, you could essentially, allegedly, set it so maybe notifications are silenced and you don't get any beeping or buzzing from your phone. And if a text comes in from someone, it'll automatically reply and say, hey, I'm at work, I'll talk to you later. And then once 501 rolls around, your phone switches back to a normal mode, and then those notifications come in as normal. Little is really known besides the lock screen should be getting a little upgrade in iOS 15, which is nice because the lock screen really hasn't changed much in a matter of years. So it's time, Apple. Of course, we can expect many more features in terms of privacy and security and app tracking transparency. I'm sure Apple is going to make a lot of the tracking happening on your phone much more transparent, as well as new features to iMessage. Again, from this Bloomberg report, we're learning that Apple really wants to make iMessage a competitor to apps like WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger, and they're going to be adding more features to really make iMessage a very feature-rich experience. And I guess I can't really personally think of what iMessage is missing that I'd like. Obviously, I wish it was cross-platform. That would be nice, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen anytime soon, if ever. But I'm curious, for those of you who use iMessage, what would you like to see Apple add to iMessage in iOS 15? Is there a missing feature? Is there something that is broken that you'd like to see fixed? Curious what Apple could add to make iMessage an even better deal for those of you who use it. Thoughts, comments, questions, leave them down below. Moving on to iPadOS, again, it's a theme here, little is known, but we are hearing that Apple is going to give iPad owners much more control over their home screen, allegedly allowing you to place widgets anywhere you want on the screen, even replacing the basic grid app icons that we've had forever now with just widgets. So that is what we sort of know, but now let's talk about what we don't know and what we could maybe see at WWDC. One of the biggest questions, of course, has to do with the iPad and the apps. The iPad Pro in 2021 now has an M1 processor inside. That is a desktop level processor that is the same thing you get in the iMac, the MacBook Pro, the MacBook Air, and the Mac Mini that can run Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro and all the other apps you want to run. So the big question is, when are those apps coming to the iPad? Starting first, of course, with the apps Apple makes on its own, like Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro. Now, we could talk about the specifics and the nitty-gritty details all day, but on a surface level, this does make sense, especially since the iPad Pro does support trackpad, keyboard, and mouse support officially, so there isn't any reason that Final Cut Pro couldn't basically just be transplanted for the most part from macOS over to the iPad. You could also kind of expand this to other companies as well. Like, what if Adobe gave us real Photoshop on the iPad? Not the Photoshop in the iOS App Store, but the real deal, real desktop level Photoshop. Sounds crazy, but this is not a crazy thing that's unrealistic. We are getting closer and closer to this happening, and kind of as it stands right now, there really isn't technical limitations here at play. The hardware is not the problem. Now it's just a matter of Apple unlocking the software. Speaking of Mac apps, let's talk about the next version of macOS. This one, of course, is Big Sur, and the next one is set to be some other California city. What we're hearing from this is that it's not going to be a major release. I mean, Big Sur was kind of a major release and a major redesign, so this is going to be a much smaller incremental update. Think of this like a snow leopard to a leopard. And if you get that reference, comment down below because you are a true Apple geek like myself. But of course, beyond just software, there's also an opportunity here for Apple to debut new hardware. And Apple has debuted new hardware at WWDC before. This is kind of a conference for developers and for higher end users. So this is kind of a perfect place to do this kind of release. And we've seen the Pro Display XDR and the Mac Pro released here among other products before in years past. And this just makes sense to do this year with something new. This also marks the 1-year anniversary of the official public switch from Intel to Apple Silicon and these M series chips. So it also makes sense that we see the next version of the M1 chip, possibly the M1X or the M2. And what better machine to debut that new processor than an all-new iMac Pro? Now, Apple just discontinued the Intel iMac Pro not too long ago, and we just got a new iMac at the April event. But there are some rumblings and some very kind of non-concrete rumors, basically just speculation at this point. There's a hope in the community that there could be an all-new 2021 iMac Pro at WWDC. That all those rumors about a Pro Display XDR style iMac with super slim bezels and a wider display and maybe a 30-inch 6K display in the body of a 27-inch iMac, all of those things come true, and we see this iMac Pro launch at WWDC. That all those rumors were not in vain, they weren't incorrect, they were just talking about the wrong model, and that iMac that we got, the colorful one, is great for home users and, you know, for casual offices, but if you want to really be a pro and developer or a video editor or a professional who wants to use a Mac and you want a lot of power, then the pro-end iMac, the iMac Pro, would be the machine for you. Now, as excited as I am to hopefully see new Macs at WWDC, what I'm more excited about these days is supercharging the Mac I already own with an amazing catalog of apps from this video's sponsor, Setapp. Setapp is on a mission to change the way you think of Mac apps. Instead of buying individual apps and having individual subscriptions you've got to manage and all those fees and updates, Setapp brings an amazing collection of Mac apps all into one place to help you solve problems, get things done, and just supercharge your Mac experience. Setapp gives you full access to an incredible catalog of over 200 productivity-focused Mac apps. These include super popular ones like Clean My Mac, Bartender, Disk Drill, and many, many more, including some of my favorites like iStat Menus and Unite. All of these apps are beautiful, they're feature-packed, and they're here to help you solve problems and get more done on your Mac, whether that's audio mixing, it's programming, it's remote monitoring, or it's recovering files off of that SD card you knew you shouldn't have formatted before double checking. Thank you, Setapp and Disk Drill, for saving the day. And best of all is that you get access to all of these incredible apps in one place and for one price. For just $10 a month, you get access to over 200 incredible Mac apps that would be hundreds and hundreds of dollars if you had to buy them on your own. So solve your apps problem once and for all. Stop searching for the right app and paying all those subscription fees, and just make the switch over to Setapp today and get access to over 200 amazing Mac apps that are gonna help you solve problems and get things done. If you wanna learn more about Setapp and try it for yourself today, 7 days for free, check out the link down below, create an account, sign up, and get access to an incredible collection of apps that is really going to help you supercharge your Mac experience. Try Setapp for yourself for 7 days for free and learn more at the link right down below. In addition to iMacs, we could also see new MacBook Pros launch at WWDC as well. Apple is expected to launch new laptops this year. We have seen MacBook Pros launch at this event in the past, so it does make sense, and now all the things kind of align together, and this is the perfect venue to show off the new MacBook Pro. We're expecting two models, a 14-inch model and a 16-inch model, that basically is kind of a backwards evolution of the MacBook Pro. Apple has now fixed the keyboard. We're hearing the touch bar is going to be no more, and full-size ports, at least some of them, are coming back. We're expecting to see a full-size SD card slot, a full-size HDMI port, 3 Thunderbolt USB-C ports, and the return of the MagSafe style power connector. Lots of really exciting things to get very excited about with the new MacBook Pro, and also some potential rumors about maybe some kind of display upgrade, maybe the move over to mini LED on the MacBook Pro, that might not happen this year, maybe some kind of slight redesign, maybe larger displays, thinner bezels. We really don't know, but there is a good chance that new MacBook Pros launch sometime this year, maybe in a couple of weeks, also with the new M series processors inside, either the M1X or the M2, something a step above from the M1. We're also expecting some minor upgrades to watchOS and tvOS as well, nothing major. And then I've got two more wild card pieces of hardware that we could see launch at this event. That would be another new Apple TV and maybe this super secret Apple mixed reality headset. I know this Apple TV one sounds a little weird because we just got an Apple TV at the April event, but we had heard rumors that Apple was going to debut two new models of the Apple TV this year, one with a lower-end A-series chip and one with a higher-end A-series chip, and this higher-end one would be specifically kind of focusing on a higher-end consumer and more specifically on gaming. Now, the new Siri remote is great, don't get me wrong, but it is missing two things very important to gaming. That is a gyroscope and an accelerometer, which maybe lends some credit to the rumors that we could see some kind of new next step upgrade of the Apple TV remote that is sort of this controller. We don't know if it's going to be a remote with the accelerometer or gyroscope built in. Maybe it's a physical actual game controller, but we had heard rumors that Apple wanted to double down on gaming with the Apple TV and give you a higher end box paired with an actual physical gaming controller so you can play to your heart's content on Apple Arcade. And last but certainly not least, we could potentially see some sort of preview for Apple's mixed reality headset at WWDC. Maybe, with a big emphasis there on maybe. We know this is supposed to launch next year in 2022, but we had heard some rumors that Apple was planning to showcase at least a preview of this headset at an in-person event this year in 2021. Now, in-person might still not happen in 2021, so the next best thing from that would be some kind of event with developers. And what better way to kind of spur interest and enthusiasm from developers on new Apple hardware than to show something off at WWDC, an event made for developers. Little is really known on the specifics of this headset. We know it's sort of a mixed reality headset that'll let you see virtual things in the real world. It's supposed to have a bunch of cameras and sensors, 2 8K displays inside, and sort of look like an Oculus Quest with an Apple App Store built in. Again, sounds crazy, very far out there, but it is supposed to be launching sometime very soon, and we could see a preview sometime this year, maybe even sooner than we think, at WWDC. So fingers crossed on that one. Not sure if it's gonna happen, but there's a chance. There's a chance. And that is WWDC 2021. What we could see, what we couldn't see, and what we could hopefully see. That new iMac Pro would be great to see at an event happening in just a couple of weeks. I'm curious, what are your thoughts? What are you most excited to see at WWDC? What is the biggest update you'd love to see to the iPhone, to the iPad, to the Apple Watch? Would you buy an iMac Pro if it looked like a Pro Display XDR? And mixed reality headset, are you in or are you out? Curious your thoughts. Let me know down below in the comments. As always, thank you guys so much for watching the Apple Circle. I appreciate it. I'm Robert Rosenfeld, and I'll see ya in the next one.